Our week is starting off very warm and very dry, and as we head into Tuesday, we have a weather impact alert for fire danger. Tonight, after Avista paused negotiations to bring a data center to Eastern Washington, the Spokane community speaks up about the future of the project.
Anytime that a professional women's team doesn't succeed, it feels like women's sports as a whole has failed.
And after Spokane Zephyr FC announced it would dissolve the club, tonight we hear from goalkeeper Hope Heisey about the club going under and her next steps as she continues as a pro soccer player. That's tonight on your Night Report. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Night Report here on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. We do want to start with your forecast. Meteorologist Cody Proctor is in our Outdoor Weather Center tonight. And Cody, you are tracking the potential for some increased fire danger as we look into tomorrow. What do people need to know?
Well, what people need to know, Sydney, is that we have actually issued a weather impact alert as we head into our Tuesday in particular, and that's for many reasons. We are keeping track of some very toasty temperatures. We're also expecting dry conditions and breezy to gusty winds for tomorrow, and this is looking like it's going to impact quite a large area for throughout eastern Washington and the inland northwest, as you can see right here. Not so much for North Idaho from what we're seeing right now. There was a red flag warning that kicks off tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. This will stay in effect until 11 in the evening from what we're seeing, thanks to those breezy to gusty winds, that low relative humidity. You can just see how widespread of an area this is impacting. As we head into tonight, our temperatures are still pretty warm for us this evening. We've been seeing partly cloudy skies. Temperatures right now are in the upper 70s at this moment. Still a bit breezy for some of us around our region. You can see very warm temperatures still in Wenatchee and Moses Lake, low 80s right now for tonight. Winds for the most part relatively calm to light for many of us out there, but not for long. We are expecting those winds to kick in tomorrow late in the morning and staying with us. As you can see right here, temperatures will quickly climb throughout the day. We're expecting highs to be in the mid 80s for tomorrow with those breezy to gusty winds, looking to stay in the 80s for a few days. More on this weather impact alert coming up in your full forecast.
Cody, thank you. We'll check in with you soon. Although the Spokane City Council originally had an emergency vote on a data center moratorium on its agenda for tonight, that vote was postponed before council even started its meeting. Dozens of people still turned out to voice their opinions about a data center. This after Avista announced on Friday it was pausing negotiations with a large data center customer amid public backlash. 40 people signed up to speak, the majority of them against the data center.
Ultimately, this is a situation Americans are all too familiar with. Billion and trillion-dollar companies are looking to extract from the commons, have taxpayers foot the bill for the required infrastructure, have citizens suffer all the negative consequences, all to make money on a product that only benefits the company.
I'm strongly against a data center, because what will our children drink?
If not for the river, if not for the aquifer, if not for our forests or your constituents, at least for your jobs, because we will remember this. We will not forget if you do not act fast enough.
A possible vote on a one-year moratorium on data centers in the city of Spokane is expected to be back on the city council agenda next week. Today, Spokane's Housing and Human Services Department gave an update on several of their initiatives surrounding homelessness. They addressed a funding change, preparedness for bad weather, and more. Based on the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's new priorities, Spokane anticipates losing about half of its funding for permanent housing, a potential total of $3 million. The losses affect contracts starting in August of 2027. The city says it will keep its inclement weather sheltering, which they've expanded over the last 2 years. HHS presented its latest Heart Fund recommendations, which will send almost $2.5 million to help build or repair 70 units of affordable housing. Spokane also released its annual homelessness survey results. More than 600 adults reported suffering from mental illness, and more than 400 reported substance abuse problems. We have more of the data and a list of the Heart Fund recommendations on our website, krem.com. Opening statements and testimony got underway today in the trial of former Spokane County Sheriff Sergeant Clay Hilton. Hilton is accused of beating a man so severely during a 2023 arrest that the jail wouldn't take him. We want to show you body camera footage from that incident. To a packed courtroom today, prosecutors argued that former Sergeant Clay Hilton allegedly lost control during the arrest of Kevin Hinton. Yakima County prosecutors are trying the case because the case was referred to that county instead of Spokane to avoid a conflict of interest. Prosecutors say the incident is an issue of professionalism and unreasonable use of force. The defense, though, argued that Kevin Hinton's actions were criminal and defiant during the arrest. Attorneys maintained that Sergeant Hilton's actions were a reasonable use of force and consistent with his law enforcement training.
This is not a case where he was defending himself. This is not a case where he was using force lawfully. This is a case where he lost control.
You're going to see a polite and professional law enforcement officer dealing with a belligerent and dismissive gentleman, a good-sized gentleman at that, taller than my client.
Kevin Hinton took the witness stand today. He testified he was frightened during this altercation. He told the court that he was kicked in the side, resulting in 8 broken ribs, and the injuries left him unable to breathe. If Clay Hilton is found guilty, a second-degree assault conviction is punishable by up to 10 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. The trial against Meade School District over alleged assault and hazing started today. A Meade High School football player claims he was physically assaulted by teammates during a summer football camp. In a complaint filed in July of 2025, they argue that Meade staff knew about the assault and did not report it as legally required. The complaint also argues the staff did not notify parents and, quote, made no meaningful effort to stop the assailants. We have video tonight from a suspected gas theft early this morning. You can see here in the left corner of your screen, Spokane Valley deputies got called out around 4:30 to deal with this suspicious vehicle at an Exxon gas station. As you can see here, it's coming up in just a second. The SUV explodes while at the station. The driver then tries to extinguish the fire, but gets back into the car to drive away with it still smoking and a hose trailing behind. Law enforcement say they found the metal plates that cover the underground gas tank had actually been removed, which led them to believe that this person was trying to steal the gas directly from the tanks. Deputies say the suspect used the same routine multiple times last night. When they got there, deputies found his car abandoned nearby. You can see pictures of it here. The car was fully on fire at that point, but they didn't find any signs of the suspect. They say it's possible that, it's that he escaped, but it's possible that he could be burned. Spokane County Sheriff's Office deputies, they're still looking for the driver. They ask anyone with information to contact Crime Check. That number is 509-456-2233. Today, an Air Force B-52 bomber crashed in California, killing all 8 crew members aboard. That's according to officials at Edwards Air Force Base. The base is about 100 miles north of Los Angeles. The Air Force says the bomber was performing a test today to support a radar modernization program. A spokesperson for the base posted on social media saying the B-52 crashed shortly after takeoff from Edwards Airfield. A military official says the crew was a mix of military officials, government civilians, and government contractors. Nearly 4 months after the conflict with Iran began, President Trump says the war is over. The president shared more about the deal in France, where he's attending the G7 summit. CBS's Jesse Mitchell brings us an update tonight.
At the G7 summit in France, President Trump touted the deal to end the war with Iran, made official, the White House said, when both sides electronically signed an agreement Monday.
We got along very well with Iran. It's a different set of leaders. As you know, the first set is gone, the second set is gone, and we found the third set to be very smart, strong, very smart, but we ended up making a deal.
An in-person signing ceremony is scheduled for Friday in Switzerland. U.S. officials say the agreement ends hostilities with Tehran, reopens the Strait of Hormuz, and lifts the U.S. naval blockade on ships bound for Iranian ports. The deal reached also establishes a 60-day window to negotiate the regime's nuclear program with financial rewards like a $300 billion rebuilding fund if Iran makes major concessions.
And the main thing is that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. They fully agreed to that with strong policing powers, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, which is what it was all about.
The U.S. military says its blockade of Iranian ports remains in effect until the Friday signing, when President Trump says the key waterway will be completely opened.
It's a very important step towards peace, but as well for the global economy.
News of the deal drove the stock market up Monday, the Dow finishing up 469 points. But Israel's willingness to stop strikes in the region remains in question. The U.S. says it expects all parties to cooperate with the terms of the deal, but Israeli officials say they're not bound by the agreement to end fighting with Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. Jesse Mitchell, CBS News, New York.
Stay with us. Coming up in 3 minutes, the U.S. men's national team looks to repeat their performance against Paraguay when they face Australia on Friday. Hear from the players about their approach. And former Zephyr goalkeeper Hope Heisey talks about her future after the team folded at the end of their season. Hear from her right after the break.